So, continue from the previous segment here, as explained, when you have someone talking about and boasting about masculinity and everything, then when you meet them in person, tell everyone else about it, and as such, everyone else who finds out about this report afterwards, as well as multiple people giving this report, learn that this person behind the camera trying to wear white to look so holy and righteous. They have so many holes in them, of course. They will try to lure people in, suck them in, and convince them that they're being a man and they're going to teach you how to become a man. But just like any evil person out there in the world who does a con artist job on you, who rips you off for your money, your resources, and whatever it is that they try to cheat you in, they will do what they can to sucker you in and emasculate you. So whatever grapes you got, whatever you're packing downstairs, you guys, and you let such creatures like that emasculate you and mind control you to turn you into a quote-unquote effeminate Christian. See, at some point, it's got to kick in. The spells has got to stop. The magic, the deception, it's got to lose its power at some point. At some point, you got to stop agreeing with it, and perhaps you may have a window of opportunity of escape from the hands of the devil and those being used by them. Because I'm telling you, as it is, when someone's been serving the devil for a very long time, they sear their conscience. They get a demon of Belial into them called seared conscience. And they continue doing what they're doing because that's their normal operating standard procedure. And they think that's how they should operate to the point to become comfortable with it, and they just can't stop doing it. That's why people who are into witchcraft, mind control, occultism, as well as being things like cult leaders in the different forms of the dark arts, they can't stop themselves. It's like a diarrhea. It's like diarrhea of the mouth. They just can't stop. They can't stop at all. They just can't help themselves.
We don't run from anybody.
Another lie, more manure out of the mouth right there. He runs from everyone. And he hides behind the keyboard too while he does it. He's a keyboard ninja. He's a social media ninja. He runs from Pastor Rufus. Also, when I was on the land, at some point, I had to deal with some of the people who were unhinged. And this guy waited for me to be put off the land just so he can come out and then start talking to people. So I'm telling you that something's going on here. In one of his messages, he talked about how some guys out there, he talked about this at the end of one of his messages. There are some rare breeds of guys out there who are born with both anatomies at the waistline, at the male and female anatomy, called hermaphrodites. So let me ask you this. As much as he likes deflecting and pointing a finger at everyone else out in the world, just sending curses and demons towards people out there in the world, is he some kind of hermaphrodite? Does he really try to slide things underneath the radar? Because this guy's got a serious case of backpedaling. He's got a serious case of the effeminate nature from all those demons in them. And then for them to get up there and lie, you know those are spirits of Belial when they're trying to get you stirring up a righteous indignation. Because that thing right there, calling itself a man, that's got 800 testosterone score, you know they're bluffing, big time. They're lying just like their father, the devil. And to top it off too, it's a very interesting thing. Out on the road, when demons would be sent towards me at different occasions, they'd be pretty close to trying to get me. And there'd be times too when trying to talk to people and they're just, that at that moment you're not talking to the person anymore. They just check out. So whoever you're talking to by then, they're just loose in it. They're coming loose. So good example is one guy tried to ask me for help on something. I gave him some advice, kept talking to him, and this guy starts sweating with just feeling real comfortable, just feeling real uncomfortable, just panicking to a degree. And there'd be other times too when I would talk to certain people and they just receive it with joy. Because it's not out of my intent I'm speaking, it's to just do what's right in the sight of the Father. Because He sees all things. And then there's other people out there where you're trying to talk to them and they don't want to be in that conversation. You can tell they're feeling the steam. The steam's being put to them. The screws are being put to them and they're just being steamed up. The steam and the pressure's being put on them and they can just feel the tension come up upon them. And see, it's been reported that Charles Dell will not stand before Pastor Rufus to talk to him in civil conversation, nor to have a civil debate, because Charles Dell's afraid of the possibility that the Most High might show up in the presence of the Ruach HaKodesh, may show up too, in worst case scenario. The Most High might cause Charles Dell to fall down and give up the proverbial ghost. If that vessel even has a soul in it at all, period. See, some of these vessels out there in that world, and they just do so much evil, makes you wonder, if they even had a soul in the first place, where did they come from? Did they come from out underneath a rock? Did they come out from beneath a cave? Are they demons in human form? Were they born in a lab or something? Were they given an artificial, like an alternate or a forged identity to make you think they're this and that when they're a whole different horse of another breed? They're trying to tell you they're a stallion when they're obviously a low-key zebra and such. And so, if this unclean thing can't stand before Pastor Rufus, what's keeping him from standing before my person as well too? What is it? What are you afraid of so much, Charlotte Dell? Chunky Dell? Yeah, you just try to look big, buff, and fit and tough in front of that camera, don't you? Who's that unclean Philistine supporting himself at Straightway Truth Ministry? How about we get that giant, huh? Only a boy named David Only little sling. Only a boy named David, but he can sing and play. Only a boy named David. Only rippling brook. Only a boy named David who with 5 little stones he took. The sling went round and round and round, and round and round and round. And the sling ran round and round and round, and round and round and round. And one little stone went up in the air, and the giants came tumbling down. We got him. Demons really hate people who take spiritual warfare serious and look at them for what they are. A bunch of jokers. A circus. A laughingstock. Including the devil himself. The devil himself is reprobate, and they can't help it. The demons, those angels that fell down with him, no matter how smart, how clever, and how intelligent and skilled and powerful they are, in different areas, they're just reprobates. Alright, let's not forget, a reprobate mind does not know it's reprobate. Jeez. And Charles Dow is supposed to be the most spiritual and the most discerning and straight with truth ministry. Look at that religious peacock up there, squawking and sporting itself. Religious spirits, I tell you. There's something else, I'm telling you.
And if I have done anything that's considered to be false or living in falsehood in any way, shape,
of course he is. And I pray to him by the blood of the Lamb, in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach.
That's the form. I don't need you to tell me what I need to do. I know.
He doesn't listen to the Most High. In fact, he even, going back a few months ago, he would get up there and have one of his ones talk about how they, quote unquote, and listen for the Ruach HaKodesh and ignore evil spirits. And let me tell you this right now. About 2 days later, something clicked and came to the mind, and I realized, hey, wait a minute. And eventually, it started to make more sense now because, see, this person tells you the opposite of what they're doing in front of that camera. So he teaches so he won't teach Mother Carol to do this because she's in a different ballpark. But all these illegitimate women that he has, who are not actual wives, who are not actual concubines, they're just toys, just instruments for his carnal desires, both his carnal fleshy desires as well as his quote-unquote witchcraft desires, teaching them how to become witches and the such. So he's got witches underneath this roof. So of course he's going to teach them how to ignore the Ruach HaKodesh and the ministering angels of Yahweh. That heathen behind the pulpit, that's a Greek and that's a Roman. That's a heathen coming from the land of Europe. Just because they have melanin on their skin, just like some of the people of Japhet, you really have to look behind it all and research, because the technology they had in the days of Enoch and the technology they're rolling out right now, they can make a quote-unquote black white guy. What am I saying? A European that has some melanation, even though they can have some cold hue to their skin, to where they could look like a roasted chicken and actually stay that roasted color without turning red. And then you have people who actually make clones in the labs to where you can have some very wild combinations. You got different versions of Joe Biden, different versions of Donald Trump, different versions of celebrities, as well as people you never even heard of, who could be, for example, part Indian and part Japanese, like part Indian from India and part Japanese. And they have blue eyes, for example. I'm telling you, these things that walk among us are actually where, that the people of the Most High are still scattered to the four corners of the earth into captivity to all these different nations. So we're going to see people who need to be converted. We're going to see at sometimes perhaps demons in human form, and we're going to see clones, things made in a lab, as well as androids, cyborgs, and the such. And wait till the end times get more interesting. That's where you're going to see some very interesting specimens and the such. Just know that when you try it and doing your part for whoever and it didn't work out, there's millions of people out there. Go pray for them. Maybe the Father will save them and give them a place in the kingdom when they receive the water baptism and the baptism of fire, the baptism of the Ruach HaKodesh.
I got somebody greater than all of us that I fear greater than anybody, and I have no...
He doesn't. If not only myself, but those who do research on Satanists and the way they function and all their little divisions, so they have a clue of how this world works, what happens behind the scenes, and how to address it. For example, there are some people, the Most High, who are in the occult. There are some people of the Most High who are in the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and different flavors of Satanism. People who are out there who are they're just plunged in the cesspool of hell, okay? Just because you're saved and been filled for X amount of years, there's humility to consider about the people who are not only up there in the upper echelons of society, civilization, these governments and nations, but also people down at the bottom too. There's some people here and there that the day may come where the Father knocks on the door, starts dealing with them. And there may be there may be those opportunities too where you just gotta pray for people, and perhaps the Father can open the doors for such people to have a chance at salvation too. Because, see, vessels like Charles Dow here, he's sold out for the devil big time. He does everything he can to sell you the dream, to sell you the vision, to tell you a false vision, a lying divination, to convince you he's all about that faith, all about the work of the Most High, about the kingdom of the Most High, when he's in real life doing the opposite. Because as soon as he gets you on one of his private properties, you hand over your stuff and everything else, he's got you, and then he can make you do what he wants, as much as he wants, for as long as he wants, and make you tolerate it for as long as possible until he's done using you up. Then he kicks you out and talks trash about you, saying you're X, Y, and Z, and try to send curses and demons at you. So this vessel, the devil, Charles Dow, he sacrifices and uses people for the devil. So that misery and affliction and oppression he puts on them to get them in a negative energy state and negative emotions and negative spirit and such, he harvests them for their energy, especially when he convinces them and they believe that he's a so-called prophet, a so-called pastor, a so-called highly anointed man of the Most High, a end-time servant of the Most High, and so forth, all the rhetoric. He sits there and harvests them for not only himself, but the demons that he's in cahoots with. So he's struggling to recruit and he's struggling to deceive people to bring them in so that he can continuously use people up and take their substance, skills, and everything that pertains to them. Oh yeah, and how does that work too? Sometimes people die in the ministry of Straightway, the so-called ministry of Straightway, when it's a 501c3 business. So this experienced Satanist, who is Charles Dow here, this abomination sporting itself in front of the camera, that thing is practically a mere mortal man. They think they have power. They think they can operate at their own free will. No, I'm telling you people, that thing has to do what the devil wants him to do, and he can't get sleep until he does the work of the devil. If it means enslaving people, cutting them off from eternal life, keeping them from achieving their potential in the faith, sending curses and demons at people who are serious about the faith, and from time to time causing people to die by getting them even possessed with spirits, and then they die, and then they turn around and talk trash about them. Oh well, you know, Sheldon, he was a this and that, and this and so and such happened to him, and you know, you better listen. You better do everything the leadership tell you. So I'm telling you, those people who are submitted to Charles Dow are in cahoots with them. They don't know that they got blood on their hands, that they have physical blood as well as spiritual blood on their hands. As long as they keep being told that they're separate from the world, that they keep singing unto the Most High, they keep reading their scriptures, and keep ministering that word as if they're so spiritual, that they're doing the right thing, when they're actually being used to just mass recruit people like the Christian churches do, like the Catholic Church does, like all these other false religions do out there in the world. These institutions that have a form of a set apartness, but deny the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. From such you turn away from. See, the greater amount of evil Charles Dow has done, as well as those who want to stay with him, the greater their judgment is. See, there's so much judgment that can be poured on this person's life, but in eternity, I'm telling you, Yahweh is not playing games. And those of you who love the ministry, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do not, as is shown in the Proverbs, choose none of their ways.
trouble, no problem getting right with them. But what needs to really take place is a lot of people like that, I don't know why, there's a lot of people like that, y'all need to start questioning why are you so eager to believe the
Okay, people, you need to start questioning everything about Charles Dow. Get your information, do your research, check out all the videos made about him already, as well as from all sorts of people. Do your research. Because this guy is going to be effeminate, that Charles Dow over there is going to be effeminate, hiding behind the camera, and hiding behind all us deceived people, and telling them to go around packing Glocks and AR-15s and such, and they barely can shoot. The only people who actually know how to shoot are the ex-military members, and even at that, they expressed on audio recordings and such, and it's been disclosed to the public, that these deceived ex-service members, those military assets, have communicated that they have premeditated murder in their heart, that they will kill people just because, for quote-unquote reasons. So those military assets are going to be in trouble, big trouble. They've been military trained. They're trying to train militia on Charles Dow's private properties. And what? They only practice with what? He says that they practice with almost 10 rounds a week or so, with all the ammo that they buy. See, one way or another, they're boxed in. They're encapsulated within the will of Yahweh, and they will not escape his judgment. Even if they turn around and cry Esau tears, they cry alligator tears. According to Proverbs 1, they can cry out to him. They're finished. Oh, and also for a side note, for those of you who still want to pray for Charles Dow, here's the catch-22 for you. When he did something atrocious, he told everyone, you better shut the hell up and let him do what he's going to do, or else he would kick him out of the ministry and start chucking trash about them. Well, he went to do what he did with Nelly, and he was on the sick bed. He was really torn up by the report that was given. And people laid hands on him for him to be recovered. And what he did do afterwards, he continued in this wickedness. So, if you're trying to put this on me, take this to the Most High, so you don't think I'm quote-unquote walking in the spirit of accusation. Take to this Most High. If I miss the points, leave a comment in the comment section, or whatever means you can to reach out to me. That way I can get it right, repent, so if the Most High does not reveal this to me yet, or if it's given to you, then I can get right before he returns.
False accusations coming from false witnesses when the book clearly says
Charles Dow is a false witness, as well as the rest of his people that he has speaking on his behalf. Ellis the heathen. He's not a Hebrew, he's just saying that for title. See, this guy, he puts his wicked hands on people and transfers his demons onto them, and they get that all macho, hyper religious, hyper masculine attitude, that kind of attitude that just makes them like a brute beast, and as well as religious spirits and so forth. And they think they're being righteous when they're just being deceived and walking in high levels of the flesh. And let's not forget those false testimonies of 2024. So those people got out there and were bearing false witness, making sure they can sneak in the lie and alter the truth as much as they can, not to promote the Most High and what the Most High's done for them, no, but to promote Pastor Charles Dow. There is some serious sugar in the tank, I'm telling you. There is some serious sugar in the tank type of attitude stuff right there. It's supposed to be a ministry about teaching people to be restored back into the faith, and teaching women how to be women and men, or teaching guys how to become men again. And they're sitting there in front of that camera doing that kind of stuff. That's an abomination, and that's very suspect. There's some very strange and suspect tendencies, and they have all those years and all this time, even now recently, to catch a clue, to get a hint, to find out that maybe everyone who's trying to get the other side so the person can hear both sides of the story can consider, and they're still gonna go along with this. Again, there's plenty of people out on the roads, millions, some here and there who are gonna hear, some maybe later, and when things get very tough, maybe they will hear and believe. But these over here who want to stick with Charles Dow, such as Kabir and others who separate with him and still want to stay separated with him and devout to him, you can go back to the scriptures, even the letters. Some of these people just want to get together and they want to justify themselves among themselves, but Yahweh knows their hearts.
Says against the elder.
Now that's just witchcraft right there. Witchcraft manipulation. Witchcraft control. There are multiple witnesses who have went to him in person themselves, such as Nick and as well as Pastor Rufus, about his conduct. And there's others too who have met him in person to certain levels. There's only so many people who've actually had a strong, compelling witness of not being a loan lender for what they call it. And there's just people out there who, get their what they pick up, what they see, what they can discern and read between the lines and analyze the information of. So with them, you have altogether multiple witnesses against a person with the gray hairs. And here's a very interesting thing I learned. The wicked, Yahweh shortens their days. Even Steve from Straightway Canada up there, as well as Daniel Muir and Corey Phillips, they are aging fast. I'm telling you, within a few months, you can see the gray, the white hairs just coming in fast, like that. And they want to get there in front of the camera and say, "Oh, it's just wisdom, and it's just dealing with the saints. It's just, loving the saints and leading the saints and so forth." Those lying devils. So there's a person I've seen minister on YouTube who's doing the works, even though they're older than Charles Dell, they look younger than Charles Dell. And let me tell you real quick, even though Charles Dell wants to pass it off as if he's got the features of his father, obviously his father, his quote-unquote father must have raised a punk. Yeah, his so-called father and mother must have raised a proverbial punk. And the hue that's falling off the guy's skin, what else can happen next? Will the rest of the copper fall off him? Will the black just fall off him and he'll turn to a, would he come down with leprosy or something like that? Only Yah knows. Only Yah can smite the hue off that guy's skin, or off that vessel's skin, to show that he's not playing. Just like how he did with Miriam, they want to put their mouth on his servants. So you have a effeminate vessel, the devil over there, who wants to put their mouth on Yah's anointed. What other judgments can the Most High lay on them before their fate is completely sealed, and that sealing is manifested before your natural eyes?
Don't even receive a false organization. What do you say about the people that are.
And by the way, again, Kabir, he's still down there in the tunnel pool in the spirit world, and the way he gets up there and talking to the camera, the anointing's not there. The power and the role of eldership and the performance of elder, especially for what straightway boasts to be of itself, a legitimate elder, it's just not there. It's just a title. And if you're wondering too, people who just have a title but they don't operate underneath the title, they just walk in that title, that's a spirit underneath Ahab. So Kabir also is not an elder either, even though he's aged. And Charles Dell wants to get up there and one of the sessions at least once or twice or so, and talk about how not all elders are wise. Some of them might be ignorance. Some of them might be unlearned in some areas. Others just might have the spirit of the fool in them. See, you can't. You just can't slide by it, no matter what way you try to go get around it. You can't get over it, you can't get through it, you can't get underneath it, and you can't get around it. You're boxed in. You can't escape the Most High. Know the truth of His Word. You will know about their fruits, their spiritual fruits, not their fronting, not their quote-unquote good works to be seen of men, to receive the praises of men.
Making these accusations, I've never met you, like you said, 90% of people haven't met. We got it.
He's just repeating what he says. See, when you're not of righteous character, of virtues that's approved of even from the people in this world, if people can't see Yeshua HaMashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh operating in through and around you, the spirit and the nature of His Son, Yahweh, of Yahweh's Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, operating through you, through that person who wants to get up there and minister. If they can't see that operating through that person, and they want to get up there and speak and put forth words, it's an embarrassment to go up there, live in sin, iniquity and transgression, and just get pulled up to the ceiling with it, and get up there and try to act as if you're all that in a bag of chips. When it's not about you, it's about the Most High. His will be done, not your will.
You gotta remember, Yeshua already told us, right? He says, before they...
Again, using scriptures to justify themselves among themselves and trying to put a front on. And here's another thing that Satanists know that they can get away with. The demons, especially within them. They'll get there and blaspheme the Son of the living Elohim. And they'll put dirt on his name. There's only some areas that they'll go so far in to lie on Yah himself, on Yahweh. But as for certain people, those demons just grow so big in them, they just blaspheme on that ground and on that level that they cross beyond. And when they do that, the best thing you can do is just move on from there, because these spirits operating through these two people speaking right there on that camera, they know how to lay on the Father and on the Son and so-called slide by for the meantime. Because execution against a speedy work is... Because execution against an evil work is not... executed speedily, it's fully set in the hearts of men to do evil, especially do evil to the Most High, that they have to give an account for when they do not repent and get it covered, and they get purge of it too.
They hated us. Before they hated you, they hated me. You know.
Even more fronting right there too. There's a difference between the spirits of hate as well as righteous hatred. Righteous hate. Because it shows even right there how the Most High hates certain things. And even it's shown in the Psalms too. That David even wrote, I hate those who hate you with a perfect hatred. And see, here's the other thing too. The gifts work by love. If a person doesn't love his neighbor as he loves himself, and doesn't love the Most High, and there's a breach in there, then he's going to shortchange the power. He's going to risk shortchanging the power, as well as from growing to next levels of being used in that capacity in those areas. Oh yeah, and let's not forget too, we really start to learn about Straight Way Truth Ministry, its doctrine, as well as the thoughts and the tents too. You're going to realize those people have hate in their hearts. They pretty much open themselves up to black hearts, hardened hearts, spirits of Leviathan and such. Because you just can't go in there, claim the name of the Father, the Son, as well as to mention the Ruach HaKodesh, and then turn around and just be evil and mean and nasty and hating on people. Then they go up there and put on this religious front saying, oh, they're hating us. when you're the one hating on people. That reversing the script is wickedness and is abomination in the sight of the Most High. Because it's witchcraft involved, as well as iniquity. It is to deceive the hearts of the simple. These people are not going to escape, no matter how hard you pray for them, okay? Have your fun with it.
He was hated without a cause. I used to think to myself that, man, if Yeshua ever ran for president, would he win? Now,
Yeshua HaMashiach is not a politician. The government of the kingdom of the Shemayim was upon his shoulders. Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, operated after the Ruach HaKodesh, the spirit and not the flesh. And you have these heathen right here in front of the camera sporting themselves, twisting the scriptures to their own destruction, trying to tell you that Yeshua HaMashiach would be a politician. I rebuke you, wicked spirits, in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, you get the power and authority from the Father through the Ruach HaKodesh to heal people, forgive them, to cast out demons out of them, as well as to do miracle signs and wonders, as well as to proclaim judgment onto people who needed to know what's coming their way as a result, including those Pharisees, as well as the order of the day, those who opposed him, especially those who crossed the boundary and blaspheme the Ruach HaKodesh. He told them that they're not going to be forgiven in the road to come. And these jackals in front of this screen right here, they're just as full as demons as TBN, Joel Osteen, TD Jakes, and the rest of the religious devils out there. See, they want to play mind games on you and do mental gymnastics on you. And also, the kingdom of Yeshua, that Yeshua HaMashiach is of, it's not of this world, this terrestrial world, but it's of the Shemayim. And through completing the will of the Father, he was given a name above all names. He's at the right hand of the Father. It's even known as an allegory. He's the right hand of the Father, the power of the Father. And when he returns, he's going to come back with the power of the Father to bring forth judgment upon the wicked. So these people don't fall down. Those unclean vessels over there don't give up the breath. And if their children are not judged as well too before he returns, they're in trouble. So not only Enoch, but also the rest of the righteous who are going to come back with Yeshua HaMashiach. Those vessels full of honor and righteousness, no matter of bunker doors, it's going to deliver them from the wrath of Elohim, from the wrath of Yahweh Elohim, from the great, awesome, and terrible day of Yahweh.
I know he will not. I'm not Yeshua and I'm not infallible, but
You lying devils. They're trying to replace Yeshua HaMashiach and operate underneath the spirits of anti-Messiah, Antichrist. these antichrists are going to be tossed into the furnace. They want to claim the name of Yahshua HaMashiach. And then when you find out what's really going on, they live and operate underneath another Jesus, another Yahshua, another Yahshua that Apostle Paul warned about. And they want to say, oh, we're not, but they're trying to, tell you what their actions otherwise. And again, look at the behavior of Charles Dell. He's still looking over the place. Still trying to come up with a plot and scheme to escape and slide by. Again, these devils are not going to slide by. Because spirits of Leviathan will make people think they're slick and so smart with their carnal knowledge. Their earthly, their carnal, sensual, and devilish knowledge. Go watch some of those movies, right? Those movies with the heroes and villains and such, right? Even Gladiator for such, if you have to, for context. The way the quote-unquote bad guy thinks and operates, that's how those evil spirits make these people behind that camera think. Especially Michael Israel. You outsmart them and outclass them on what they're doing. They think, oh yeah, I see what you're doing. You're trying to corner us, and I'm just gonna go out the building here. I'm not gonna talk anymore. And here's the thing, when the Most High has got them marked, no amount of reasoning, no amount of demon underneath the kingdom of Hasatan can deliver out of the hand of Yahweh.
If we're being hated just because we want to keep the commandments of the Most High Yah, we now know what Yeshua was experiencing. Not to the full extent what he did, but
again, mocking him and trying to put their dirt on him when he has nothing to do with them. The Most High has nothing to do with these jokers, these comedians, these clowns, these imposters, that satanic circus over there, straight to the circus ministries. Their judgment's not so far from now from coming forth.
That's what's really happening, Pastor. I've known you for 8 years.
That's also false. That is not what's happening. They're trying to put up a front. That's also a lie. He's not kept his word.
Integrity.
He doesn't have integrity.
You have led. Even the trust that I have for the people in Esdras with you, because
he's a very untrustworthy person too, for what he's done in the past and still continues to do, even in 2025. You have these people over here just flattering each other. You know how sick and depraved some of these people are, even through the generations, when they will flatter each other? Some of their rich and upper class, when they're getting together, trying to become a team, I'm telling you, some of these people, when they operate underneath such spirits such as flattery, they can be found underneath the ranks of the spirit of anti-Messiah, Antichrist. Some cases they can lose the desire of women because they're just so demonically influenced, and their character's just of many different type of demons. when you look at their character, there's just so many types of evil and flaws and things that are just not right. So they can become bad marriage material, and they can have a lack of desire, such as guys can have a lack of desire for women when they're just loaded with antichrist spirits. To the point where they start thinking that the woman that they have is not as beautiful as they are and can be and would be if they were to receive the right guidance, instruction, and direction too. And in some cases, when they get even more demons in them, sometimes they can get some very disgusting sodomite spirits in them. For context, sometimes they might you might have guys flirting each other, trying to tell one another how handsome they are, just blowing each other down with compliments and all sorts of things that just makes you want to say, ugh, that's sick, that's disgusting. And even back in the 60s and so, I'm telling you, these kind of demons that get in those kind of people, when they just go off they just keep going further and further into all unrighteousness, into all wickedness. They do some hardcore sodomite stuff behind the scenes. That I'm just gonna put that to the side there. Just know that you get some people, when they mess around with spirits of flattery and all sorts of evil spirits, and they think that's the right way to go, and they encourage each other to be even more wicked. They just get even more rotten on the inside out, and they refuse to repent because they're persuaded in their minds and convinced that is the way of how to be righteous and to be a man and everything else, when it's the far opposite.
Your reputation with me.
Charles Doe has no reputation. It's practically non-existent. Anyone who wants to say anything good about him, it's not going to be remembered in the judgment. So have fun giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Experience I've had, you've always been honest, you've been giving.
Respect their persons. He's only going to put that front around certain people, try to act around certain people when it benefits him. And these people, they should know better. They should have enough time to see him operate around everyone else to know for themselves is if they're treating everyone else, even those underneath their authority, just as good as they're treating them too. But if they're quiet and they're putting up a front there too, both either in ignorance or willingly to lie and deceive and put up a front, they're still in trouble with the Most High.
Of yourself, of your time, money, energy. You have been.
And you can see there too, the expressions on his face, all this fronting. You can't make this up, people. It's right there in your face. The proof is in the pudding.
It's supportive everywhere. I can't say it. I'm not here to say anything that's not true. Just exactly.
Geez, Kabir must have some very special and extra attention. They must have some quality time with one another. No wonder why Kabir gets so excited and so giddy and such when Charles Dawes brought up into the equation. That is abomination for sure.
And so when people say, if I have had issues, I can come and talk to you about it.
People can't go to Charles Dawes and talk about it because he's gonna have a hissy fit over it. He's gonna be a wuss, crybaby, throw a fit, especially when it came to that medal, that pendant. See, to strengthen the spirits of Ahab and Charles Dell, what does he do? He teaches Nelly how to be a Jezebel and to be a Jezebelic witch too. So where you get some of this illness with this from his mama, from his, his mama Nelly. See, there's one thing that pigs and demons have in common. They love the filth, they love the slop, they love it with a passion. They just can't wait to roll in that and enjoy the ecstasy of rolling in that filth. You can tell those who are the Most High and those who are just, they're going contrary when they just gotta get their fix of that filth, that slop. They just gotta roll in it. As soon as they put on their white and put on this front, get up there and talk to you like a car salesman, like a politician, like a public speaker, like a motivational speaker and such. As soon as they get off camera, oh boy, they gotta run to the mud bath, to roll in the slop, to roll in the mire, and get some satisfaction and relief after they roll in that mire. So people can't talk to him even about that medal, as well as about other matters at hand too.
All this stuff.
He doesn't want to have anything resolved. He's a drama queen. He's effeminate, he starts drama. And those are spirits that can also be found underneath Belial too.
I'm here, I just don't understand because I said I know the man.
Falsehood too. He refuses to come out with the truth, and he wants to turn the other way and not do what the Torah says should be done. Because obviously he doesn't read the scriptures. Obviously he doesn't know the book. Otherwise he would do his diligence and hear both sides of the matter and do righteous judgment. So you have, again, heathens up there supporting themselves, trying to tell you they're your people when they're out there follow the devil. And they also, their arm pump, as well as their little shirts that they wear, those are Freemasons. They know how to get their flex on. They know how to mock at the Most High before judgment comes down on them. Louis Farrakhan, he's not getting off the hook. There's nothing honorable about that heathen either. Just because the person speaks well and people follow him and he's got money to put in their pockets to walk around with armed security. Even Charles Dell's security are amateurs too. All it takes is 2 to 3 competent people. They could be SWAT, they could be FBI, CIA, even, military contractors and such. Those jarheads and such. People who are underneath military contracts. Anyone who's competent in the field and the malicious skills and such like that. See, these people there are amateurs, and the Most High isn't with them around that. The Most High is not around that environment anymore. They're finished. They're open season. And the Most High knows the proper judgment to give them too, and when to give it to them as well too.
Including the ones that was actually with us and that said they know.
Again, fronting, and he's trying to flip the script. He's no longer with us. That's why he puts people out the ministry who want to be about righteousness and be about the faith. And they want to get up there and grandstand to recruit people to see them and turn them out into twofold the children of hell, twofold to the children of Sheol.
When they get out there, they make these videos and stuff. Does it line up with the person that you know?
Again, fronting. There's plenty of people who know about Charles Dowell, his character, who he's about. And now he's just being fully exposed, the more so. It lines up with who he is and how he is. Just because he has a bunch of deceived people who go with a narrative, it disqualifies them because they're false witnesses. And what are those two false witnesses in the book of Susan? They had very different, they had only one area they couldn't agree on, but on other points, they had false testimony involved, false evidence to get forth. So after they were examined, cross-examined, wherever they wanted for the victim, it was put on their heads instead.
Not line up with a person not even close. And so at the end of the day, you gotta come here and experience yourself. But here's what happened.
Charles Dowell will not experience himself. He'll experience what the Most High's got stored up for him, and what he's bringing forth, and what's being poured out. Oh yeah, and by the way, news flash. Tennessee got hit again with some more quote-unquote bad weather. He's over there in Wisconsin, at a certain area of Wisconsin, where you can obviously look it up in Google search. And if you use the right information, you can look up Kabir, and you could obviously find out where his mansion is. So it's obviously not a disclosed location, especially if you're part of one of those government agencies. You can obviously find out in a matter of minutes or even an hour or less. And then you have the other part here too. He's over there where there's no flooding, but you had the weather report of it flooding over there in Tennessee. So he's away from the hub. And what's that thing that he said about Joel Osteen? Oh yeah, when it was about the flood in Texas, Joel Osteen jumped on his his jet, got out of there, and when the flood subsided, that's when he came back and he said, "Hey, we made it." Talking about how bad Joel Osteen is. There you have it right there. Joel Osteen behind the camera with his butt buddies, his fanboys, his deceived followers, those who really think he's the Most High come in the flesh. That's how badly deceived they are. And that's how badly indoctrinated they are and deceived. Just like Jim Jones, they're not worshiping the false anymore. They're not thankful for what Jesus did, what Yeshua HaMashiach did. They're putting it all on the vessel, trying to worship an idol that's going to be condemned because that person will, that vessel will not repent.
Everything is good until you start rebuking people. And that's
Also falsehood. Everything's peaches and cream when people are quiet and he's putting his mouth all over on people, but as soon as they speak up and call him out for what he's doing that is wrong, then he wants to have a fig on camera and start doing this witchcraft, start doing this mind control, start doing this bewitching and all sorts of deception on people, trying to convince them that the other person's so terrible so that you don't listen to the other side. If anyone listens to court trials and court cases and such, the person who has no evidence, little to no evidence to support what they're saying, they're going to come out hollering, shouting, and screaming like the Democrats when they're getting busted because they have no grounds to stand on. But the person who's holding them accountable, they got their information, they did their research, they gather what they can, and they're bringing forth the evidence. So even at the judgment, whoever of these vessels over there, they even have a soul at all, when they have to stand before the Most High, they're not going to give him a bunch of lip. If they backtalk him, they're going to be snatched up and thrown out to outer darkness, cast into to a lake of fire. They're just going to be taken out of there. They're going to be held in contempt and put out. See, people, this is what demons do to people when they protect those demons in them, and they let those demons insulate themselves on them, and they like the way that they are because they think that is how they should be. And when they continue being like that, the devil will clown out that person until they're used up, and then in some cases start exposing them. And when that person gets judged, the devil's not going to help them. They just get used up like toilet paper.
That's really what it is. It comes down to, I mean, everything was good until it comes to that person. And I've had to deal with these. Other people had to refuse it. And those who are truly in this.
There's a difference between righteous rebuke and rebuking with wickedness. And even Charles Dahl mentioned that in his preaching too. So these people behind the camera, as well as on those lands, who are being used to be tyrants over the people, they're over there verbally abusing people and telling them they're wrong for the wrong reasons and trying to control them. So you have a bunch of celibates, guys over there in those lands being abused by punks, sissies, cowards, and people that are full of demons. And they think what they're doing is right when you can go back, reread the scriptures, the Old Testament as well as the New, and get the clue that leadership is not about abusing people and making their lives hell and trouble.
I mean, Brother Ellis, he had to rebuke your fact. You know what I'm saying?
They know he's overweight, and they allow him to stay overweight. They also allow Daniel Mir to stay overweight. And as much with all the things that they so-called know, including with all this sports nutrition and everything that they should know of, why is Daniel Mir as well as Ellis still overweight? What's going on here? If they have love and they want to say all these things in front of the camera to convince you they're all about that in the bag of chips, that they're so great, they're so moral, they love the Father so much, so why are they allowing all these people in their lands to get overweight and even obese, and the such, allowing them to stay like that, and not helping them to live a better quality life, as well as to help every man have a home, have some property to grow their own animals and vegetables, have gold, silver, cryptocurrency, money, wealth, as well as many wives as they need, and all the healing and deliverance and everything that they need. Why are they letting people just cut loose and be whatever? Be down on the worst the worst. Of course, chicken wings and watermelon's delicious. Tastes good. But if you don't know how to count your calories and know what you're doing with your macros as well as your body type, of course you're going to start packing on those pounds. See, these people, they just can't stop. It's all that diarrhea coming out of their bowels, through their mouth. It's all those demons using them.
He's still here. You know, but somebody most people take that and get offended and say, I'm out of here, and pastor's this.
They're the ones offended and they kick people out. And they want to flip the script there. It's embarrassing for what they do unto themselves right there. When the books get open and these things are not repented of, that day, that conversation, it's going to be rough. And it's going to be very embarrassing for them. And once they're taken out of the way, they're going to have a very, very long and definite time to think about it. And it's indefinite. They're going to have a very long time to think about it, to think it all through, and they're going to keep thinking and thinking and thinking it over. They're going to have plenty of time to think this over once this present age is passed away and the kingdom is brought forth.
And then start making up stuff. So that's when it comes down.
These people make up stuff because they have all sorts of demons in them, including the fighting spirits that make them twist things. They make them twist words. Then they have religious spirits such as false discernment, to where they'll try to tell you it's something else when it's obviously right there in your face. For example, you have a guy up there who might seek to be married, and you have Charles over here seeking to snatch up every woman that he can get and mack them out, as well as give any woman you can to any of the leadership just to keep them in line, just to keep them submitted to him. And the guy could have had that one of those women as a potential wife by chance, and they're gonna turn around and tell him, "Oh, well, you know, brother, you need a bride price, and brother, you're just dealing with the spirits of lust." Really trying to deflect and everything. See, when you find out about all the depths of this wickedness And what goes on? Cry aloud and spare not.
But a righteous man loves judgment.
Those people that are wicked, that big group that they amass unto themselves, that evil crowd, they don't love judgment. They're not going to come to judgment. They're going to point the finger to their witchcraft. And the embarrassing thing too is, plenty of them don't know that they're doing witchcraft, let alone charismatic witchcraft. They just can't help themselves either. And they've been doing it for so much, they've been searing their consciences. So they're not going to come forth and face the facts, face the light, face the truth, find out where they're right in, where they're wrong in. They're going to point the finger. And they're going to send curses and demons at people and pray against them as much as they can, because they're just full of it. Their septic tanks are just overflowing. Even though you can't smell it, you can just sense it. You know it's there. That septic tank, the lid's open, and it's just pouring over the seat. It's that bad. It makes you wonder, how can they fit another demon in them any further?
So the people that don't like to rebuke them or challenge them,
they don't like being rebuked, nor do they like being brought to the challenge of a righteous debate, of a righteous discussion, of being tested for their word, being put to the task, and so forth. They're going to manifest and start throwing a fit and just come unhinged.
or whatever, it just show that they're not righteous.
Again, those people are sure way that evil crowd are unrighteous. For context, he's not actually calling on Corey Phillips. He's just going on another person entitled the Demonic Personality Clone False Lips.
These people out there that seek to damage the reputation.
Charles Dahl damaged his own reputation. And he's trying to flex like a sissy, punk, and a coward. Everything he's measure people out for is being met back to him. And he needs all these manginas up here in front of the camera to justify him. If he was a man and he was serving the Most High would have justified him months ago. This is how we break it down, people. This is how we get the facts. This is how we get the report, the evidence, the details, and so forth. Not only that you can see in person and interacting with such people, especially when you hear from others who actually interacted with them, more than one person, you have two, three, and you have multiple others too testifying. And then you can use empirical evidence to see, hear, and analyze for yourself, not after the natural mind, but also after the knowledge of the truth of the word and the information given. And what else is given to you as well? You're going to find out that these people are just straight up frauds. They have to go up there and lie and put people in fear of rising up and speaking up. Otherwise, they would know that they're a mere mortal material man, and anyone can just go up to him and they know they don't have to deal with him anymore. And if you're wondering, that's how modern day witchcraft works. That's how politicians can go up there, spew out a bunch of sewage out of their mouth, a bunch of nonsense, things that people just hate and detest and get enough of. And the thing too is, they have police around them too, and they put the fear of being arrested by police. If people get enough of them, of those tyrants, that's how witchcraft works. Modern day witchcraft. If people had the clue, revelation, as well as the know-how, they wouldn't accept domestic enemies on their soil. And they would see people like the mayor of New York and all these Democratic Party tyrants and so forth. The people would obviously operate underneath their the rights that they have underneath the law of the land against such tyrants. Because there's plenty of stipulations in there when a leader becomes a tyrant, what to do about them. If you're wondering, I just stick with the truth of the matter. If you're trying to, quote unquote, say I'm picking sides, you're making an assertion, and people who like to play those kind of games too, there's people out there who are in the cult that do that kind of stuff too. They're trying to say, see, I heard that they said this and that and X, Y, and Z. They must be talking like this, they must be about that, and so. That's why the Most High hates workers of the cult and the such, the works of the cult. It's very disgusting. It's an abomination. Because you have people who obviously seek to operate after the manner that the Creator wanted them to operate by, Yahweh Elohim. And you have all these people who want to counterfeit, twist things, and make it work for their own benefits, their own evil, selfish benefits that's influenced by evil spirits. And then go up there and justify themselves, and then persuade others to back them up with their agenda, their evil plots to go along with it, to convince people that what they're doing is righteous and of the Most High, when they're actually coming against the Most High, against His will and what He wants to do. To fulfill His will be done, and not their will. And also, Corey Phillips has been revealed as a warlock, sitting there doing all this flipping the script and manipulation, giving a very different story, like fake news, like the people on the news channels do, broadcasting, casting spells to the east, west, north, and south, just working hardcore manipulation and mind control of the people, straight up tools of the devil.
Straight weight and Pastor Dow. Have you ever known me to be that type of man? What I'm being accused of out there? Not at all. You know.
There's a difference between being accused and being caught out for what you're responsible of. See, once someone's being wicked, and when they get to the point where those evil spirits start manifesting and speaking to that person, so they're no longer speaking out to the flesh, but they're speaking out to the demonic, they're going to let it go all in. They're gonna try to reverse the script and try to deliver themselves by their smooth, clever devices and schemes. So anyone who does not have any sense, any understanding, insight, comprehension, forms of discernment and the such, even the Ruach HaKodesh, to pick up on that stuff, to get a clue of what's going on, what's really going on, to find out what's wrong with what they're saying. They're gonna try to talk to some earthly, sensual, devilish people, carnal people who've never had any sense in them, foolish people, as well as low base people, and anyone else that they can deceive to get on their side. They're talking to that specific crowd. They're catering to them so they can recruit them, use them up, and toss them to the curb as well too when they're done using them as well.
And actually, we, as a house and family and congregation, go straight way. I went.
Look at that fat bastard just loving this food. When no one's looking and he's in his house, does he sneak in, donuts? Does he talk to himself when he's gonna eat those donuts? He just wants to take that donut and get a nice little whiff out of it. Just get enough smell of it so he can just taste it and put it down without trying to eat it, so he doesn't start pecking on the pounds on record time. Does he also get pizza and just get some really filthy, disgusting, vile and abominable thoughts and just wanna wrap himself with that pizza and so forth? Does he sometimes, watch the Food Channel and touch himself? Hey, I'm just saying, there's evil spirits in that vessel, and they're just he's loaded, okay? Charles Dahl is just loaded with all sorts of evil spirits. That's how people who are on the code get so powerful. It's because they get loaded with all sorts of evil spirits. By the tons, by the dozens, the legions, by the battalions. And then they had to get place to those demons to get them a kick out of what they're doing. And then when they do that, those spirits just get quote unquote fed off their spiritual energy. So they're saying they're feeding those evil spirits, just growing them till they just become massive blimps. Oh yeah, don't worry, these people are not trying to be pretenders in front of the camera. Charles Dahl will be walking around like a blimp, having more chins than the Chinese phone book.
Through and asked, all the saints, everybody on their own accord had an excellent testimony.
Jeez, Corey Phillips, you're just so anointed. Almost everything that comes out of your lips, you're trying to be religious. You're trying to, preach. You're just trying to put on that religious veneer. You just can't talk. No wonder why you're not making videos lately.
passed it down. They said uncoerced. Everybody has remembers of him laying hands on them, being healed.
See, isn't that a trick about religious spirits? They can take a testimony from years ago and just make a big deal of it like it's today. Like it just happened today. They're going to take something that they can. And there's some really, really other messed up stuff out there. Just to, guard your ears, guard your hearts from out of necessity. But there's some really messed up stuff. And if you're wondering, it has been reported and evidence given that Corey Phillips has given false testimonies, false healing testimonies on some points that's been reported of. So if these people can get up there and lie on different matters, then their spiritual condition and what they're operating underneath and by, for your sake and for courtesy, do not receive prayer from those people. And even if you go there prayed up so that no demons can transfer to you. See, that's the thing, is that there's other deliverance ministries out there. And there's people who are actually making an effort to be righteous and faithful unto the Father. That way, that they could be fit for His use. Because the last thing you want to learn about is that you're in the deliverance ministry, you're hearing about all sorts of things happening, and you think they're just being persecuted, because that's how you've been taught. And then you find out eventually that that leader has been actually being contrary in the faith. And so it's by the favor of the Father that you want to find other ministries out there that are doing the will of the Father. Because you don't want to have that thoughts that come challenge you. Certain thoughts that come challenge you about your faith and while you're in the faith. So we have leaders that are just being disobedient to the Most High. You don't want to be challenged by that. You want to be focused on the Father and ask the Father what needs to be done and what you need to be doing going forward, and if possible, to send to lead you to other deliverance ministries so that your faith is not challenged, and wherever is before you doesn't mess with your faith nor your relationship with the Father and what you received of the Father.
Pastor giving of himself. And then here's the great thing, for us, that I remind the congregation of. This is one of the reasons why whenever I go places, I do what I saw Pastor Dow. I remember when he came to Kansas City, it was, matter of fact, it was him and...
Oh yeah, what's that one stream that was mentioned in it? Old scrambled eggs. Yeah, those eggs must have been so good. They must have been loving that gas that they had afterwards, huh? What was his name? Deacon David underneath Kabir. Yeah, it must have been so exciting. That gas must have been so worth it, huh?
I think Mother Carol, did she come? I can't. It's been a long time. But I just remember you being in the living room in there, and you was laying.
So it's a no or it's a yes, Charles Dahl? Yes or no? Nodding no, and shortly, just a few fractions of a second afterwards, you're just nodding your head. See, when you have to get in the kitchen and make your own food, especially when you have to learn how to make your own, bread and such, including learning how to make flatbread and so. At some point, you're gonna start having to get your sleeves rolled up and learning how to cook your own kind of food at some kind of level. It's pretty simple. You can put water in your eggs. You can put oil on the bottom of your pan. You can put all different sorts of seasonings in your eggs so it makes them taste the way that you prefer, the way that it should taste good. Because depending on what culture you came from, you could just be, from certain cultures where you use certain spices. You could just be freestyle to where you just put in the right spices. And it tastes good. So, when you're sitting there eating while having a conversation like that, nodding and saying no, and shaking your head afterwards, up and down, as a yes, while eating your food. See, when you're having a conversation at a meal, there's points where you pause after chewing the food, or especially when you're eating your food, and clearly make a solid and distinct form of communication. And especially when you're talking, people who learn table manners learn that you don't talk while you're eating. What else? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So, spirit of double-mindedness, it's in Charles Dahl as well. Obviously, the guy can't make up his mind. Yes or no? What is it? Hey, what's those old 1990 jokes go? Those Carno jokes, I mean, hey, this Charles Dahl here wants to be effeminate. He might as well put on makeup. Maybe he can make up his mind.
Hand on hands. I mean, he had done that conference long after. He could have just been all fellowship, but it was about Christ. And that's what people.
Surely it's not about Yeshua HaMashiach, nor is it about Jesus Christ. Again, those religious spirits speaking to that man, trying to convince you that they're so serious, they're so hardcore about this faith. I repeat those wicked spirits in my name of Jesus, and I bind them 100-fold in the mighty name of Jesus. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach.
Remembering their minds. See, when you remember things like if you remember those who are of Christ, then guess what? You're not looking to come and tear down, the reputation, tearing down.
Those people are straightway who are being wicked, that large majority of them, they're not of Yeshua HaMashiach. They're not of him. They're not of Jesus Christ. And people are not trying to quote-unquote tear them down. They're exposing them and calling out their wickedness.
On the good work, come on, ministry.
There's a difference between a righteous good work and good works. That's a counterfeit spirits called good works. The Catholics, they get that stuff big time, as well as a lot of Christians out there in a lot of different denominations, all these different denominations, instead of doing what the fathers prescribed, especially in the Old Testament and the New Testament as well too, there's going to be plenty of them trying to mass recruit people and do it the wrong kind of way too. And other points where if it was revealed to them and they would receive it and be ready to receive it, they would repent and do it no more.
People just out there outside of what the word say, they can't see it.
Corey Phillips and the rest of them are outside the word, and they can't see what the Father expects and wants to do and desires from his people, because they're lost. They're of this world. They're not of the sheepfold. The good news has been brought forth. They can't comprehend it, nor can they overcome it. They're lost. And even if they try to say X, Y, and Z for their counter argument, it's pretty simple. They're not doing what the word expects them to do either, because they're lost. They don't get it, and they don't want to get it. They just want to be part of this Ponzi scheme, this scam, running with this con artist and pull a scam on people and enjoy it. See, Corey Phillips could have multiple wives, even more children, a better inheritance, or actual land with inheritance and everything else. But no, he's indoctrinated as well too. He's just another puppet.
We see it, but those who see it just have to continue on. Because I mean,
also, another detail too. Where's the rest of this guy's eyebrows? What is going on Strayway, people? What in the world? See, people can obviously grow a full length eyelash on both eyes if they had not been damaged and such, but come on now. There's other things that just stick out on the side, loose ends.
You talking about not receiving the accusation against an elder, which you understand.
False doctrine yet again, and using it to control the minds of the people. There are multiple witnesses against them still.
Point where unless you are an eyewitness and your hands been on something.
There are eyewitnesses, and there have been people who have had physical experience as well as hand-on experience with the situations too, including the spiritual side of it too. The spiritual matters as well.
And then you know exactly that these things are going to. That's what the Bible asks us to be. The Bible.
So is it the Bible or is it the scriptures? You unregenerated heathen. You two full children of the hell, a Sheol. Which one is it? Is it Yeshua HaMashiach or is it Jesus Christ? Is it the Bible or is it the scriptures? And will your answers, your statements stand in the judgment, you demons? Will it stand in the judgment? Will it stand in the judgment?
I ask you, can you truly account for what you've seen or what you touch?
The people who have been there can account for what they've seen, what they've experienced, hands-on experience too. As well as those who are offlanders have their areas of experience as well as their testimonies as well to testify against the wickedness and what they experienced from Straightway Truth Ministry as well too. or shall we say, straightway to the lake of fire ministry. Straightway to the furnace ministry. So all this rhetoric, all this sophistication Corey Phillips trying to put forth, not many great people are selected, handpicked by the Most High to be a vessel of His, and the Most High is not supposed to be justified by cleverly devised forms of speech and conversation and rhetoric, but testified by those who are operating by the Ruach HaKodesh.
And a lot of these people, I can tell you 100% of these acts.
Again, Corey Phillips is lying again, bearing false witness. And how long has he played this game too? And has he been doing this while taking the Passover too? Multiple times? At least once?
Things that come by that I've seen throughout this past dead season has been no eye.
So Corey Phillips, again, those spirits are lying through his teeth. Since 2023, with the situation between Pastor Rufus and Charles Dell, pretty much of the whole year, Charles Dell's been starting drama with Rufus, and Pastor Rufus has been calling it out, giving forth the evidence and the reports of people and everything else, even the testimony of Eric Fund and so forth. And they want to call just the past dead season. Say Corey Phillips is bearing false witness. He's just getting himself in even more trouble with the Most High. See, in the Old Testament, some people did have expedient judgments, divine judgment that happened in a short amount of time. And there's others where it took a long enough time to build up, and when enough was enough, the hammer dropped, and they were dealt with accordingly to their measure, and how the Father saw fit to judge them and deal with them.
Witness account. Just a bunch of people popping up on the internet. They heard.
Again, flipping the script. The Father raises up people to point out the wickedness, and you have people who are participating to call out the wickedness and tell the truth and expose the works of darkness, and they want to flip the script here too. Those are unclean vessels behind that screen, just spurring themselves to their own destruction.
Another video, somebody else talked about what they heard, and none of these people are eyewitness accounts.
There are eyewitness witnesses who have been in association with Straightway, as well as past members. They have heard, seen, and experienced in person, as well as other means as well too. So Corey Phillips is still telling lies. There are people who have seen for themselves and experienced in person.
And so this is what makes us as a people continue to go through these curses and these things that we go through. We're not abiding by Yah's word. It's just that simple.
They're not abiding by Yah's word. See? You have this religious spirit over there behind that screen, sporting itself. And geez, as much as Charles has been faking it all these years, the only pleasure he gets out of is food and sex. That's a miserable state of existence, when only carnal desires can only satisfy the depths of your being. No touch of the Ruach HaKodesh, nor of the anointing to move the inner being. But they get up there and they do all this running out of their mouths saying this and saying that. There's a song that was brought out some years ago, and the idea of that cardinal son by a certain guy who was talking about where people who become from what they were to descending to lower depths of depravity and wickedness in this world, in this present in an evil age, especially in this especially as the end times pick up and people are being exposed to more evil, oppression, and influence of demons. There's some people where the only satisfaction and pleasure they get out of life is food and sex. And that's basically what they're trying to point out with in their ideas that they're trying to put forth in their cardinal music. And so you have this unclean vessel up there, just full of the devil, being all haughty, and only being earthly, sensual, and devilish, acting as if they were with the Most High, when they're sitting there just trying to use them for their benefit and gain, like a Judas, trying to fill up their pockets, and when they're done using up the people, just toss them to the curb, just get rid of them, exterminate them if they have to, cause them to die even by means, and try to look like they were the innocent party while the victim was in the wrong. These people are just not going to get by on the judgment. Their sins, iniquities, and transgressions, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So when it's said and done, they're going to be without excuse. They've had all their satisfaction in this present and evil age, and they refuse to serve Him. Instead, they want to serve demons instead. They have to give an account for that. So they can't say that, X, Y, and Z, when in reality, they've been serving a bunch of demons and they enjoyed it with a passion.
It's really a simple. So absolutely. We ain't saying none of that.
So, if I had some.
And here's the catch too. They would hear what's going on in some cases. They would have their own little spies and their own personal spies who not only get in the internet here and go watch people's YouTube channels to see if they're being talked about, so they can go back and say, hey, Charles Dahl, they say X, Y, and Z about you. And Charles Dahl gets on YouTube and says, yeah, these people are here in X, Y, and Z, crying like a little girl, like a crybaby. And these people are supposed to be working 10 to 12 hours a day, and they don't have any time to listen to the Ruach HaKodesh, to listen and even seek the most from the Most High. They're too busy on the internet being brown nosers, being busybodies. Oh yeah, and by the way, didn't Charles Dahl preach about that kind of stuff, or so-called talk about that kind of stuff, saying that people who are just so nosy, want to get in everyone's business and such, are so-called sodomites and so forth. So what are these people doing with the, sodomite spirits on them, or using them, or in them? What they're doing being on the internet, being so nosy with the big gay going on. What is so important about everyone else's personal life and personal business, as well as their ministering of the word of Yahweh unto everyone else, that they need to be concerned of? Isn't that when they went to go start beef with Geno Jennings and such, and others, when they could? So these people want to get here, be nosy on the internet, and play innocent, cry wolf, when they're being put on notice, they're being put on Front Street, they're being called out for their wickedness and being exposed, and they can't get away from the light.
One that used to be close to me one time. And he says,
that woman behind the camera wearing the white hat, he just can't stop talking about Pastor Rufus. That guy must be flaming big time over Rufus. You just can't stop talking about him. Every time he talks about Rufus, he must be queefing big time.
That I know him. All right. With what they're putting forth, is that the man you know today? Oh
no. Charles Dow is clearly manifest, because it's been obviously revealed. How does someone go from putting up this front for a long time, and when they're being exposed, and the person exposing them is determined, to the point where the exposed person is just becoming pure evil? You can't miss it. And to get up there and deceive the simple and those who don't know, that's the work of the devil, the work of evil spirits. Rebellion is as of the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness as iniquity and idolatry. So they want to get up there in front of the camera and take as many souls to the lake of fire as they can, bring as many sacrifices to the devil, and try to keep the sacrifices going so that they can try to keep back their judgment from coming, is what they're thinking. Thinking if they can bring in enough slaves, bring in enough people that they can cause to die and so forth, that they can appease and escape. The guys obviously, Charles Dawes obviously ran out of sacrifices because not enough people are rushing to go to straightway so they can get baptized underneath straightway instead of what's prescribed. And to keep them there by trying to bewitch them and smooth talk them and convince them that working 10 to 12 hours a day for Charles Dow is the faith, and being told what to do by him 100%, and working for him for 10 to 12 hours a day, and being his slave is the will of the Father. Not so. That's the work of the devil, and he's trying to do everything he can to still keep his position. In that video he made some weeks back ago, it was all about himself and not about the ministry. he obviously cares about himself and not the rest of you people over there. Just stating facts. He obviously cares about himself. He doesn't care about the guy on his right, the guy on his left, and anyone else that can be collateral for him. He's just gonna toss them out when he can as collateral damage. Oh yeah, what happens if just Mir goes to jail and that's just the beginning of the judgment? Oh yeah, saints, just pray for Mir. He's being persecuted by the world. That lying devil, that deceiving demon, that vessel full of unrighteousness, trying to find a way to take the light off them and put on someone else so they can continue to creep in the open in darkness, to hide out there in broad daylight.
Not at all.
Not at all. Is that the man you known in the previous years? No.
Then something wrong.
Greatly wrong.
There is something greatly wrong about Charles Dow because it just took enough pressure just to make him fully manifest. Because all these years, he's been playing the people. And for Corey Phillips to see it, be told by the Most High to pray against him, and refuse to do it, whatever window of opportunity he had, whatever door of opportunity that Corey Phillips had, he slammed it shut and locked the door and ripped off the door knob so it couldn't be opened again. He messed up big time.
And this is the reason why I say and repeat scripture over and over again, my good words and fair speech, they deceive the heart.
Again, Charles Dawes doing witchcraft again. Projection. Trying to put it out on everyone else when he's really talking about himself. This is what he's been doing to people for about 30 years. Being a snake in the grass. Trying to act like he's one of us, of the Most High. When you get a closer look at him and you examine him, you can find out who he is in person, especially how he functions on a daily basis and everything else. You start to learn real quick over a gradual time. He's not who he is for what he says that he is. He's the opposite, because his actions speak louder than his words.
Harder and simple. And so it's totally up to y'all. You can believe whatever you want to believe. We got newspapers writing them.
So you can care less about the needs of the people, what they need to know and what they have to be informed about. He's telling them, oh, you're not, he's basically telling them, oh, whatever. He's just brushing it off. He's just using political strategy. And by the way, if anyone knows any people from Sports Illustrated, go tell them that yes, that Kabir, John McNabb, Rob Mathis, and the rest of them who are still there, they are in the cult, and they are practically John McNabb, not John McNabb, but Rob Mathis, as well as Kabir. They are cult leaders, and they are tyrants. They indoctrinate people, they abuse them, use them as slave labor, and they use them as experiments. And they enjoy a lavish country lifestyle off the backs of people, and they get up in front of that camera and sport themselves to their own destruction. That they get up there and pretend, and they act so great in front of that camera, showing that they weren't converted, they were just indoctrinated. They were brainwashed to think that their ego and the scriptures can stand side by side with each other. When the spirit wars against the flesh, and the flesh wars against the spirit. The Ruach HaKodesh wars against the natural man, the flesh, and the natural man, the flesh, wars against the Ruach HaKodesh. And also you can tell Sports Illustrated on top of that too, that those football players are low-key Freemasons and Satanists. Just lay it all out with cheese on top. Just put out the evidence. Give it to them, and then wrap it around with the elastic band too, and tie it so it holds together.
About us. You know what I mean? Because they call up our enemies and get their opinion. And
again, assertion. Not everyone went to each other to find out X, Y, and Z. People have spoken and been given words to speak to call it the wickedness. See, he wants to deflect and say that they got together and this and that and so forth, when Charles Dawes getting all his puppets and making them say what he wants them to say on front of that camera, and pull this whole PR stunt when it's feeling miserably. And all these people are coming out exposing him, calling a spade at different points in different areas, calling it out for what it is. And he's trying to get mad and quote unquote butthurt over it, just because you have 2 or 3 more witnesses at least testifying against him and putting out the facts. Oh yeah, by the way, Michael Russell, where are you at? Where are you at, Air Force? Did you jet up out of here? Come on, Michael. Send Charles Dawes some of your healing balm of Gilead for his butt.
and then they go run the story as if it's gospel truth. I can't.
Charles Dawes preaching the gospel truth. He gets it behind that pulpit and does his witchcraft. He sits there, spins the narrative, just like the news channel does, and tries to cram information down people's throat, perspective, and condemn them and convince them that they're in the wrong and everything else. Just be a pulpit bully and everything else, and tries to tell them that it's the gospel truth. See, Charles Dawes, a hardcore witch, wizard, warlock, and the rest of all those satanic flavors.
Can't never get anybody to actually have a civil discussion.
Charles Dawes doesn't want to have a civil discussion. He's of us full of the devil. He's a unclean, vile vessel. And he basically lacks a soul. That's what some bodies out there do, that basically don't have any souls. They just go up there and cause a whole lot of trouble They're straight up Neanderthals, barbarian savages. They kill, steal, and destroy, just like their father, the devil, who made them.
A live interview from a video. I can't get anybody to do any of that now.
Rufus gave him an invitation. Also, Barack gave him an invitation too. See, it's more political strategy, more lying. Charles Dow just straight up breathing out lies.
Right. So the people refuse to actually get down and sit down and come at the table and have these type of.
Those people, those unclean vessels that straightway don't want to sit down and have a civilized discussion. Even the people who wanted to shoot Malcolm X had the opportunity to sit down and have a civil conversation with them. Plenty of them, before the day came, and because Malcolm X was not serving the Most High, eventually the day came and he had a nasty situation that didn't go well.
Open dialogue. There's nothing you can really do about it. No. So we're not trying to change or persuade the minds of people out.
He is trying to persuade and change the minds of the people out there. Again, he's still lying. How does he know this stuff? Because he's part of the system. He studies them. He has a bunch of books. He even has books he doesn't show or let be seen in front of the camera. For example, if you go do a search to his video archive, to his YouTube channel, and if he did not scrub the video yet from the YouTube channel, he has shown the YouTube video where he has a King James Bible, if that's correct. Then he's got a Quran, and he's got a Satanic Bible. If you're wondering too, Satanists know how to infiltrate congregations and subvert it too. Especially if it's a deliverance ministry. Satanists come in different flavors. Sometimes it could be those billy goats in the leadership just waiting for that righteous person to pass away so they can take over that ministry and subvert it and convince people they're still about the Father's business when they're sitting there controlling people from behind the pulpit and from the stage. Then you have those who start a ministry and convince people that they're of the faith, that they're of the truth and everything else, just so they can bait them to get them to their ministry so they can use them as puppets. And you have others where they do some hardcore occult practices to control the ministry from the inside out, so they can destroy it from the inside out and all sorts of other means to subvert a ministry. So people like unclean vessels like Charles Dow, they're just full of uncleanness and demons. It's a common trait of their nature to do all sorts of witchcraft and deception, including political deception and political strategy to deceive the masses. And of course, there's people out there waking up and they're not biting off the fruit of the lies anymore. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid just doesn't taste like it used to taste like it anymore. The words that they speak just doesn't sound like it used to sound like anymore. And that's when the revelation starts to kick in. These people, they don't mean any good for you. They're out there lying to you, to your face, behind the camera, and behind a microphone.
in any way,
in any way, shape, fashion, form.
We just want to state some facts here. Appreciate it, Pastor. Absolutely. So
These people behind that screen right there can get behind that camera and use only so much information and any potential facts that they can dig up, and then flip the script, twist the narrative, and make statements to support their agenda, to tell lies and falsehood instead of the truth, because they don't want to face the facts, because it would condemn them and they would be in trouble.
Oh, Brother Bernie,
Brother Bernie, come over here for a second now.
Brother Bernie,
you've been headed down there.
Brother Viper. The guy who wanted to take Pastor Rufus's office. And what was his reward for wickedness too? A leadership position, or a tyrant's, a cult's leadership position over a property underneath Charles Dell. So if Vernon was to slip up and mess up, Charles Dell can kick him off his land, his property, because it doesn't belong to the States. It belongs to Charles Dell. And it's underneath a foundation, so that foundation obviously does not donate to any people. So they're trying to get by with a type of money laundering, tax evasion, hashtag Al Capone. And this guy, Vernon, or this vessel, this unclean vessel, Vernon, wants to get up there and lie on Pastor Rufus after all the righteous things he's been doing unto the Father, as all it's been doing unto the saints, that is to be done unto the Father. So Vernon gets a truck in a position to be a turner for people. Some people have loved the Georgia areas, the Georgia properties, the Southern Assemblies, and they even caused them to give up on the faith because he wanted that position. See, these people behind that camera do not mean you any good at all. And they want to do all sorts of evil for a temporary reward, a small little reward for pocket change. They reward in the Shemaim, in the kingdom of heaven, in the new Jerusalem. It's overwhelmingly great compared to all this pocket change people cheat other people for. You could take all the richest people in the world, put them all together with all their money, resources and assets, skills and everything that they have. It'll be a drop in the bucket to what the saints are going to receive in the kingdom. And also Charles Dell is a rich man. He's a multi-millionaire by killing, stealing, and destroying to himself. Just like a lot of those wicked out there who gain such ends through such means to achieve such ends. Even what he's got and what he could have had and can still gain right now before it's too late and he's judged is a drop in the bucket. And when you have a bunch of indoctrinated people who have no sense, no wisdom, no knowledge, understanding, nothing to fall back on that's in them, and they believe 100% what's put before them, they don't know what they are. They just go everything what's get told to them because they believe it as gospel truth.
Great way, Georgia. You've been with me all.
Oh yeah, what's that shirt? Strength and Honor? Yeah, these people got some serious autos in their groups on those private properties underneath Charleston. They want to go around and wear that kind of stuff. There's no doctrine to support what they're trying to support here, especially with that pin. Oh yeah, real quick too. Go back to the earlier part of this whole process. Again, go back to your notes, go back to your mental notes or your pen and pad. That face, that look on Kabir. What are those spirits? Because it's just showing up on people's faces. Something else. Telling you this. A whole lot of faking and pretending that has to go forth to convince you to walk into that trap. It is a trap.
Long time.
Yes,
all right, and you had a leader that was over you. Y'all down there. For a long time. All right, so.
So not only with all the head bobbing that Charles Dawes doing here, but you see all that's being given out to the facial expressions for Vernon here. Can these people by the way, can these people just simply just completely shave off their eyebrows and just paint them on? Because basically Charles Dawes eviscerated these guys and feminized them and slayed them out and indoctrinated them too. So they're gonna need all the makeup they can get to look good in front of the camera and look good for the lover when their lover's gonna reject them.
All the things that has been said about me in the previous year. All right.
Previous years. See, he's being vague, and he still can't talk. Still can't stop talking about Pastor Rufus. Instead of being a quote-unquote man like he used to talk about out there over all these years, and now when it comes to Pastor Rufus, he wants to be a keyboard ninja and a social media ninja, social media ninja, and now want to step up to a man and have a civil conversation to talk it out. And he even talked about how he wants to throw hands with Pastor Rufus. Charles Dawes, a sissy punk in the cover, and whatever experience he had in the military, the guy can't throw hands. Amateur. Scrubs are up, man. Get the scrubs out of here. Scrubs and the beyond.
The negativity, the damaged reputation.
Charles Dawes, a negative person. As much as he wants to sue people because the things that's being exposed of him is sticking to him harder than super glue. I'm going to do this real quick right now. This guy actually wants to sit down and go to court with every person who said something as fact against him. Hey, let's all have a clash. Hey, if they really, truly got the nerve, the unmitigated gall to not work it out with the saints, but go to the law over this that was warned not to do in the commands or in the instructions for the assemblies that was given to them to instruct them. So this person wants to sue just about every person, and he wants to make it happen. Class action lawsuit can happen against him. Guess what? Charles Dow, Corey Phillips, Daniel Muir, and all the rest of their cronies and their disciples that they raised up unto themselves, as well as all these accessories to crime, such as Gideon, as well as Pastor Baldwin, Priest Baldwin and such. You comedians want to have life sentences slapped onto you, and you want this information to go to the particular people, so when you go to the slammer for life, they'll be watching you. I mean, hey, they find out that Charles Dow and some of the other people there, they're into guys. They're seriously punk and coward. They can't fight. They're into pizza. They're into cheeseburgers and such. They can't wait to have their audience with you once they see you in the pen and once they see you in the yard. Some of you want to talk about, X, Y, and Z about going to prison. Oh, no. That stuff you're talking about right there, that's walk in the park stuff. That's just fronting. You go to the real person, the real jail, people find out what you're about and your tall rap sheet that you done after supposedly being in the faith or claiming to be in the faith, and you got some people find out that such people like Charles Dow, Kabir, Daniel Muir, and such are punks, sissies, cowards. They can't throw hands. They're down low pedophiles and everything else. They can't wait to meet you in person. So either way you cut it, it's still baloney. You're not going to escape the Most High, you agents of the devil. Plenty of you over there had plenty of time to repent and get right with the Most High, even to leave. If it's required of you to leave too, that's between you and the Most High now. These intercessory prayers, what else can be done if the Most High is not going to listen to it anymore? Didn't King David himself intercede for the son that was going to be born, or the child, and the child's life was still taken, and that they were sitting down? He got dressed and went to go eat, and the people just looked at him like, hey, what's going on here? He let them know, hey, he did what he did. He did what he did, and the child's life was still taken. So David did his part in the situation, and the judgment still came.
The accusations and the false accusing and stuff.
Charles Dow is false accusing. As well as someone up there who wants to get on camera with him and for him to do all this lying deceiving for him and just get themselves in trouble with the Most High. And they've been brainwashed and indoctrinated to believe that they should do wickedness for the leader, and the Most High is supposed to understand. You can go back and read about how King David wanted the people to be numbered because the devil was using King David at that time, moving them to do such wickedness. Oh yeah, let's not forget too. There's only some he did not number. He let them out of the whole process. So that man did not do what King David was being moved, pushed to tell him to do. So he did not obey that command. And King David was dealt with for that matter. And that's when King David took accountability. He prayed and wanted the judgment to be taken off the people and be put on him instead, his household. So as much as Charleston wants to make himself like King David, trying to have a complex, trying to have like the so-called King David complex, shall we call it, just basically being a bad representation of King David, just trying to copycat King David and make him look bad. See, these spirits, they do some serious, reckless stuff. So Charleston wants to get up here and make people do evil and convince them that they should do it and leave out parts of the scripture. And because he makes them work pretty much all day for about 10 to 12 hours at least, to where they don't have time to study the scriptures. They don't have time to go study to find out these things are so for what he's saying. Everyone else who's off the land and not being used by one of those so-called fellowship groups of his, they have time to go, an opportunity to go read and see for themselves if everything he's trying to, whatever doctrine he's trying to give forth stands, or if it's laced with something. So what Charleston's trying to put out is laced.
In your own words, do you know me to be the things these people have said about me?
Absolutely. It is outside of your character.
Vernon up there lying again. Oh, also, by the way, all you people on those lands there, out of wisdom, you may want to consider stocking up Top Ramen, because if Section 8 does get cut soon enough, that means you can't go get welfare and food stamps. So you better stock up on Top Ramen, and you better love it and thank the Father and pray that the Father sends judgment a straight way. That way you can either get free or go to prison and enjoy you some good, delicious Prince of food. And let me tell you, the people from the old school days, they take Top Ramen. If I remember correctly too, they take hot sauce, tapatio, some canned meats. They put it in the garbage bag. They make sure that Top Ramen is cooked, and they shake in the back, they shake in that see-through garbage bag, and then they fill it up in their bowls, and they eat it. Tasty. It's the delicacy of the prison. So yeah, you better get used to eating Top Ramen and thanking the Father that you at least can fill you up your bellies before you see what happens next.
Character, outstanding.
outstanding example of a man how to become men, or should I say, young men.
So we have to distinguish the clean from the unclean there, because that's laced and that's fixed to support the narrative in the wrong kind of way. See, those who are on those lands, they're not allowed to be man. They're not allowed to have substance, polygyny, and everything that's needed for them to operate as men. Charles Dow gets up there in front of that camera and puts out all this rhetoric so that he can convince people he's legitimate when he's sitting there using the information to bait people in, as well as the rest of his leaders. They use that to bait people in so they can slave them out and turn them into a shell of man and load them up with evil spirits as a result too, such as Ahab spirits. Because Ahab spirits will give people a wicked spirit of workaholic and so forth.
And how to become men. Man of integrity, man of honor.
Again, these people don't act like this character. These type of functions of personality and character in person. They just use a whole bunch of good words and fair speech.
I haven't seen anything other than that in the 14 years I've been in the ministry.
He's lying. He's lying through his teeth. He has those demons speaking through him too, because he's been trained that way. And also he spoke in his testimony that basically saying that Charles Dow's not perfect. So if Charles Dow can't be judged by any mere mortal material man, and you have Michael Israel as well as Vernon saying, giving hints that Charles Dow's not perfect, these two people in that behind that camera over there at different times, Vernon right here, as well as in his so-called testimony of Charles Dow, as well as Michael Russell talking on behalf of Straightway, they destroyed their own credibility. They destroyed their own reputations as guys.
Now, Straightway George is obviously it has done change a lot. But is this?
Straightway has gone from bad to worse. The benefit, what's happening in the road right now, the positive side of what's happening out there on the road is that there's a chance that people may wake up. They'll find out the hard way, and the hard way shows up in their life, and finally it just breaks them and they get it. Or they finally want to get a clue, or they want to consider whatever area the Father meets them, so that they can convert to the faith. But straightway, going from bad to worse, it's just to sell them up in judgment, those who want to be wicked.
It's a true statement right here that ever since everything that has transpired taking place has not Straightway Georgia and every single person down there that's with the ministry, their lifestyle has changed for the better.
Someone who's from Straightway, if you're listening to this, get Charles Dow a tampon. He's being the measure smells mustard right now.
Since all this is taking place. Exponentially, right?
Yes, sir. Men can.
Again, he's not telling any truth. He's bearing false witness. He's just going along with the process, just playing along with the whole process, supporting a lie.
The men of their households, take care of their families.
That's also a lie. The men at the ministry, or the so-called guys at the ministry, they're not in a capacity to take care of their own households. They barely have no time for their own wives, as well as to grow with their own women, and everything else that pertains in matters of their own households. They're slaved out, and they don't really have means to support themselves apart from $50 for each person.
You know, down the world about getting $20 a week and money being misappropriated.
Again, Vernon's lying through his teeth. The spirit's using him. You can go ask Pastor Rufus what really happened at Georgia and how they've been treating each other over there, because they obviously have been doing the work. All these different homesteads, all these different private properties have been dragging their feet and just been fake as hell. Just fake to a level that will cause people to burn. Oh yeah, what is also the Messiah talk about one of the teachings of his, of how the one wicked servant, that one servant who was impatient, couldn't wait for the Adon, the master, to return. So he turned around and started abusing his own fellow servants, as well as stuffing his face, being a fat bastard and so forth, just being little spirits of gluttony, as well as tyranny and such, just being a man of Belial and so forth. Well, the Adon show up on the time that was most inopportune for them to show up, and when they caught him in the act of his spiritual condition, cut him off in the midst of his own wickedness, cut him asunder in two, and appointed them in with their portion, appointed them with their portion with the hypocrites.
Appropriated and spent on unnecessary things. Everything goes into the savings and
straightway wastes its own money, because Charles Dow has the money bag and he blows it on his own vice and so forth. All these lands, if he really was of the faith, he really was of the mission, there'd be about 20-30 homesteads with running water, homes, and everything that people can need, with food, animals, and everything just come out of the ears, just overflowing. See, these people, they're not really trying to get you free. They're trying to slave you out and trying to trick you, trying to take as many people they can to a lake of fire, and trying to play it off like they're serving the Most High, when they're full of death, hell, and the devil, and all unrighteousness, and wickedness, and deceit, being deceived, and deceiving others. They go along with the deception, and they think that's the way, the truth, and the life, when they're over there just straight up indoctrinated
into the community and back into the family.
Oh, hallelujah.
Oh, hallelujah.
Well, you know we got a lot of work to do
As usual, right? Hopefully this year we'll actually get some land that we should have achieved down there.
That's even more fronting. You have people over there who are multimillionaires, and they don't want to give it up to serve the Most High. They just want to use this homesteading to enrich themselves and to empower themselves, to achieve something that they can't achieve if they were to go into politics, because if they were to do so, it would have been a very different story. Instead, they get into the homesteading, and it infiltrates the awakening, so they can take down as many people as they can for the devil. Some of them are actually devout Satanists, and some of them don't know that they're agents of the devil. They're being told that they're being used, they're doing the will of the Father.
A long time ago.
Praise God.
and so forth.
Be the fathers will. Appreciate brother. I don't want everybody to get the food cold. I can see Elder Kabir, he was eating his, and I tried to design one Pastor Corner over his preacher, so I'm going to go ahead and my child too. With that said, wish y'all a wonderful day.
Yeah, these pork chop ministers better fill their bellies as much as they can, because afterwards they don't get anything else after this in the age to come. So they better hurry up and fill up their cups.
Y'all have a wonderful evening. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is. There's a lot of snow up here.
They better enjoy their false blessings too, because whatever blessings they're getting at the devil, it's not going to profit them when it's said and done. They're going to be destitute of anything they would have received if they were in the faith. And that concludes this review video.